We've been following the fallout from those dramatic scenes at UCLA early this morning and other campuses. Officers at UCLA in riot gear deploying flashbangs to clear an encampment there, and they arrested hundreds of protesters. Nationwide, there have been nearly 2,000 arrests at 60 colleges in response to demonstrations over Israel's offensive in Gaza. NBC News law enforcement and intelligence correspondent Tom Winter joins me now to talk a little more about this. Tom, good to see you. So we're seeing varying levels of law enforcement on all kinds of different college campuses. Is that decision really up to the university, or what's at play?
In many places it is. So, Kate, it has a lot to do with whether or not it's a private university or not. If it's a public university, of course, that's something where perhaps it's easier, depending upon the state and the jurisdiction, for law enforcement to enter. These days, of course, all these schools have some sort of security component. But obviously, when we're talking about some of the numbers that we've seen at some of these colleges, that's way too many for any sort of campus police or security to handle. The second thing that happens is if it's a private institution, it's like a private residence. The police can't just show up and arbitrarily decide to enforce laws, particularly when most of the charges that we're talking about nationwide are trespassing charges. The school has to say, hey, this person, again, no different than your home, this person is here that shouldn't be, and so we need police help. They have to make that complaint.
Which is what happened at Columbia. You have a lot of sources around what happened here. What are you learning now about who was arrested, and are they mostly people that were from off campus?
Right. So we're still trying to drill down on school specific. But when we look at Columbia and the City College of New York, according to the mayor of New York, about approximately 40% of those that were arrested are individuals that have no affiliation with those schools. So from whether it be school support staff, professors, or students, 40% not associated with those two schools. A couple of people that have been arrested at Hamilton Hall at Columbia University, a gentleman named James Carlson, a.k.a. Cody Tarlow. He has an arrest record that dates back to 2005, a G8 protest where he assaulted a police officer with a deadly weapon. Another individual, Amelia Fuller, arrested at City College of New York. She was actually fired, according to public reports, from the New York Botanical Garden for saying she was proud of the attacks against Israel on October 7th.
Wow. And President Biden spoke earlier about, protecting the right to free speech, but also maintaining campus safety. Can you remind us how the First Amendment applies here to all of these protests?
Well, a great example to bring it back to Columbia, the NYPD can't go on the campus and say, well, we don't like the message that you have. They're not allowed to go on there. There's a Fourth Amendment concern, certainly a First Amendment concern. People are allowed to say things, even things that a lot of us might find very objectionable. They're allowed to say those things. The question is, when does it become a potential concern for violence? And that's some of the things that we've seen, whether it be Columbia, UCLA, or otherwise this week, that has law enforcement's attention.
And the president said also when it becomes hate speech, that is problematic.
An entirely separate component, yes.
Yeah, Tom Winter, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.